This is Triggered.
And you will be. Good eye, mate.
Mi amor. Oh, I like yours.
So it was funny because I was laying there at like 3 a.m, as I do, and I was like, oh yeah, we're going to say hello in languages of our listeners. And I was like, Australia is a huge listening base. And I was like, how do I say hello in Australia? And then I was like, Ashley, you're a fucking idiot. Good eye, mate.
It's just English with a twang.
But here's the thing. I've never told anyone this.
Oh, no.
Okay. So growing up, my favorite movie over every movie was Crocodile Dundee. I know that word. I know like the beginning, like song, like the music, I can like twang it. And then I know word for word. Growing up, I was like, Paul Hogan is going to show up in his tight pants and like take me away. And we're going to eat snakes on a fire. And he's going to wrestle a crocodile.
I've known you a really long time now. And these little tidbits of things that I did not know about you always, they never cease to amaze me.
Like, if we ever watch this movie together, like, you will be so annoyed because I'll be like, that's not a knife. This is a knife. You know, like the whole thing is like fucking ridiculous. But here we are.
Wow. Well,
that's
good
where
morning.
My love for older men came from.
Australia, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Or just Hogan.
I never understood the cougar generation. Cougars out there in the world. Fucking get it. But like my whole thing was always like a salt and pepper man. Like, give me the salt and give me the pepper.
I can't. I am very biased, as you know, because I am into. Oh, my man is a bit older than me.
Yeah.
The kids are always so devastated when we're talking about like my childhood or something. And I'm like, yeah, when I was 10. And then one of them will be like, ew, Dad, you were 20. And we're like, let's not talk about it. It doesn't count until you're older.
We don't go that far back.
No, let's not.
Okay, so I have been, because I don't know that I have mentioned it, but I'm moving in like a week and a half. So I'm living in chaos. Mm-hmm. Because you know what, guys? You should know this about us by now. We're fucking insane. We're always fucking around moving. But anyways, I have extra people of the world moving in with me. So we need to expand the home and make room for all of the chaos that is about to be my life. However, I'm getting a super big, because my studio right now is teeny tiny. I'm getting a whole room, which is like, Chantal's also getting a whole room, but like, so I've been like designing it, but I'm designing it to be like stepping back into time. So you'd be in my modern ass house and you're going to walk into this room and I will not have overhead lighting. It's going to be like color drenched in blacks and reds. It's going to be like walking back into like the late 1800s, early 1900s. And my husband just got me on Marketplace. There was this woman who had this like built, I think in like 1920, like a couch set with like chairs. He got it for me last night. And you know what we discovered? The people of the early 19 and 1800s, they were tiny little people because the couches sit so low.
Yes.
Like
tiny little people.
You know, like that fucking cartoon where the girl sits on the big comfy couch there, the big comfy couch show? I feel the opposite of that. I feel like Andre the Giant sitting on like
It's so funny because guys, like Ash will send me, she'll be like, oh my God, look at this chair. And I too am designing my office and it's like moody and witchy and all those things, but with comfort in mind. Like comfort's the most important thing to me, not to Ashley. These chairs look like if you added a couple straps, it's a torture device. And she's so for it.
Listen, If I were to live in like the 1800s, I'd be in a fucking corset so tight, I wouldn't even
I
be able to
know.
swallow my food because I
I know
love
you would.
I love that era. The dresses and the fucking discomfort. We're too comfortable.
Well,
You know
you
what?
know what, Ash?
These fucking kids in their sweatpants all the time.
Oh,
Y'all
I
took it
know.
too far.
I often think back to like my early 20s, and I took so much pride in
Mm-hmm.
how I left my home.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not calling out the kids because I am just as bad. But we've
Mm.
gotten to this point where there's no, like, I don't know if it's Walmart culture or what it is, but there's
Walmart
no
culture.
pride.
Listen, if you could take me back, gladly put on a corset and wear a big dress every day. Like, I
I know
want
you
that
would.
so fucking bad for
I know you would.
everybody.
No, like, I remember my early 20s. Like, if I knew that I was getting a delivery to the
Girl,
house, I was getting dressed.
when I met you, you were in these like fancy slacks and a fucking blouse.
I know I looked so cute.
You were so
Oh,
cute.
well,
Mm.
let me tell you, we've gone the wrong way. We've
We need to
gone the
let's
wrong
bring it
way.
back. Let's bring it
Let's
back,
bring it back.
girls. And boys. I want to see a man in a fucking I want to see like my husband pretty much does dress up like every day cuz he's
He
very
does.
but I want to see men in like vests with a little
Mm,
pocket watch hanging. That
right?
steampunk energy, a little metrosexual action.
Those like Peaky Blinder hats.
Yeah, but with
Let's
neck
go.
tattoos.
Oh, Ash, we have
Mhm.
a fucking story to tell. You better calm down.
I know. I know. Okay, what do you
Well,
got?
speaking of discomfort,
Mm,
let me take you to a place you are going to not like at all. All right. Today I am telling a story that I've known about for quite a few years. And it's one of those cases where every time that I hear it again, whether another podcast does it or I read something about it, I'm continually brought to a place of shock and disgust.
yeah. Yeah.
So, this is what we're doing today. I'm talking about Susan Cox. She was known as Susan Powell. And we're going to get into it, and it's going to be messy. And it's going to cause so much discomfort because it causes me discomfort every time I hear about it. So, we all think at some point in time that our families are fucked up.
Well, yeah.
Like every single teenager, and I remember like, well, listen, even today, sometimes I'm like, wow, we are special, us there. But sometimes look at cases, and these awful cases basically bring to light a whole bunch of family secrets and a whole bunch of family drama that normally the average person wouldn't have known about. And it's in those moments where I'm like, oh my God, actually, my family is great. And there's no
Um,
problems.
seriously, thank God. Like I have like a fucking dumpster fire of chaos in my family, but I do have to shout out my stepmom because she just stays
Oh, she's so
steady.
lovely. I
Carol
know.
just
She's so
like
lovely.
she's so steady. And I'm like, so if things are like getting crazy and I call,
Mhm.
she's like, all right, baby, what's up? And like I can like spew the most fucking crazy. Like I just throw shit at this poor woman. This poor woman has my dad who is like kind of like I've mirrored my father. So she's got my dad, her husband, on one
Mhm.
side. And then she has me, and this poor woman is just sandwiched in between these two fucking crazy people. And she's just vibing.
Carol's the shit. She's so
Carol's the
sweet.
shit. Love you,
She's
Ma.
so sweet. Well, um, that is not today's story. So I'm going to get into it, and you'll see why. Susan Marie Cox was born in 1981 and grew up in Washington State in a close knit Mormon family. Her parents, Chuck and Judy, raised their children in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. We hear a lot of drama and a lot of bullshit stories that come out of the Mormon faith. But the
Yeah.
truth is, the average person who practices Mormon faith family life and faith are just deeply entwined. It's
Hmm.
it's the focus of their entire living, their entire life, and I think that's beautiful.
Oh, I mean, I think any belief system really truly can be beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah,
Until
yeah.
I watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives,
Well, this is what I mean.
and I'm like,
And we see that, and it's dramatic, and it's full
yeah.
of absolute BS. But the average family that is part of the church is not like that. Like
No.
they're just very family focused, very, raising their kids as best they can. And
We
I
just
think
want to
that's
do
lovely.
right, you know?
And it
We're all
sounds
just
like that's
trying to do right.
yeah, that's exactly what Chuck and Judy were about. By all accounts, Susan what was this beautiful human being who had this warm, thoughtful personality. Friends often described her as someone who tried to see the good in everyone. She would go out of her way to help others, even when she was really busy or she wasn't in a financial situation to help. She would figure it out. She was known for her creativity and independence. She loved music and writing. She was actually a pretty good writer. Her reflective side showed up in journals that she kept throughout her
Um,
entire life.
I, I, I'm gonna say something
Oh.
because when you said that, my heart swelled 10 times. Guys, Chantal's writing a book,
I
and she's a
am
writer
writing a book.
too.
I am writing a book.
And I
I
just
mean,
wanted to say,
everyone
like,
calm down because it's going to be a while, but we will keep you guys informed.
mhm.
All right. Susan had this stable home that she grew up in. Her future, all she wanted to be was a wife and a mom.
I
That's it.
think let's bring that back. Like,
Oh
Susan's
my
got the
God.
right idea. We need some
And,
more wives and moms in this fucking world, and
yeah. And
husbands, because, I
yeah,
don't care what
listen.
side of the fucking coin you're on, but we need more stability in houses, more
Yeah, yeah.
balance.
And I always think it's so beautiful because I've always been a really career driven woman, even though I am
Mhm.
a mom. And I always have such a soft spot in my heart for these women that that's all they ever wanted was
Yeah.
to be a wife and a mom. And that was Susan to a T. In the early 2000s, she met a man named Joshua Powell. At first, their relationship seemed promising. Josh was quiet and intelligent, and he shared the same religious background as Susan. So Susan was like, this is incredible. This is perfect. He's everything that I need. But right away, there were some red flags. And we're going to talk about a lot of red flags today. Primarily, all of Susan's family was like, there's something dark about Josh. Now, now, I understand our moms, like as a mom, nobody is ever going to be good enough for my kid. I
No.
don't care. I do not care how lovely you are. I do not care what your job is. I do not care what kind of family you come from. There's going to be something that I'm like, you could do better than
Although
this.
I would like to throw this out there.
Yes. Yours is
Gavin.
special.
I have Gavin, and he's my daughter's partner, and
Yeah.
I love him. But if any young girls are planning on dating my son,
Get out of
uh,
here.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I fully understand when moms are like, well, blah, 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 I don't like this about him. But that wasn't the case here. It was not only Susan's mom that was raising alarms, it was literally everyone around her.
So
Her
everyone was
sisters,
picking up on like something's off.
literally, her friends said there was a darkness behind his eyes. And guys, listen. Listen, Linda. If you are dating someone and someone close to you says, "Hey, there's a darkness behind his eyes," I need you to really think about that. Cuz that's like a deep statement.
And like,
That's
was he
not like
doing anything to give them this impression? Like,
he
or was
was
it just a
just
vibe?
it was just a vibe. It was just they initially right off the gate when they first started dating, they were like, I don't know, girl, like there's just something that doesn't
Yeah.
seem right. And of course, she overlooked it because this is what we do, right? And we have to remember there was a driving force behind Susan. She wanted to be a wife and a mom.
Yeah.
This was really important to her. So they started dating, and within a pretty short period of time, they were married. So she
Damn.
met him in 2000. They were married in 2001.
Jesus.
Yeah, so they went hard.
Like, test drive the car before you buy it.
I know.
Jesus.
So, like all newly married couples, they were young, trying to figure out how to build a life together. They eventually left Washington and settled in Utah, where Josh had found work. And over the next couple of years, they welcomed 2 sons into their family. The first was Charlie. He was born in 2005. I know.
Love that name.
And Braden was born in 2007.
Brady.
Yeah. For a while, their life was pretty ordinary. They lived in a modest home in West Valley City, which is a suburb of Salt Lake City. Susan worked at Wells Fargo Financial, and coworkers remember her as reliable and friendly. Like, she was one of these girls, if she had to take a day off, she was calling in. Outside of work, she focused all of her time on raising her boys. They were very young when this story takes place, super young, like 2 and 4. As the years passed, people close to Susan began noticing that her marriage wasn't as stable as it might appear from the outside.
Mm.
Friends later said that pretty quickly into their marriage, even before they had the boys, Josh was controlling. And when I tell you how controlling, you're going to be upset. Josh refused to let Susan use the car on a regular basis.
What the fuck
So
do
at
you
the
mean?
time, So at the time that this story takes place, Susan is actually the only one working. Josh can't hold down a job.
Okay, right
She
away.
was not allowed.
That's a fucking flag.
Yeah.
Like, right away.
Oh,
if you can't hold a job, you're that much of a dick that you can't keep a job. Like, get out of there.
Yeah. So he wasn't working, and he would basically say, like, you have to take your bike to work. So she would bike 7 miles to Wells Fargo.
I dislike this person so much already.
It gets worse. I found quite a few sources that said he wouldn't let Susan buy her own socks. She had to knit them.
So, okay, stop. So not only is she the breadwinner, the mom, probably the housekeeper, the cook, but she can't even buy herself a pair of fucking socks. Like, what are you talking about? This is insane to me.
This woman did everything. Josh was, and guys, before I say this next sentence, I don't have a problem with gamers. I don't. I think gaming can be a very healthy, fun hobby for people to have. But similar to other drugs, it can get out of control very quickly. And the reality was Josh did very little, even to the point where the boys were in daycare. Which,
so he could game.
If you're at home and your wife is out working, I don't think your kids need to be in daycare.
But you know what's funny? I have heard of this thing so many times. Like, women, we wear many hats. And I have actually seen where women are fucking busting their ass and the men are just kind of there. Like, if you're going to fucking be gaming, you better be making money.
So my PSA for today, and this is something that's real close to my heart, guys. Anyone who is in a relationship, I don't care if you are a guy, I don't care if you're a girl, I don't care if you're in a same-sex relationship, I don't care. Do me a favor today and have a real hard look at the equality in your relationship. Just do it. Just have a real hard look at, okay, is it equal here? And another thing that I want people to start to accept, because it's not 1940 anymore, just because you make more money than your partner does not always mean that you get a free pass at home because you make more money. If you're both working the same amount of hours every week, they are just as tired as you are, whether you're making more money or not.
100%.
And that is my thing for the day. Because I see friends who are in these situations all the time where, they the short end of the stick. They're still working 8 hours a day, but because their spouse makes more than them, all of the household, everything falls on them. And guys, it's 2026. Like, we got to let that go. Anyway,
Listen, my
thank you.
money is like, it's so funny because my husband always says this to me. I'll be like, babe, I would like to take you out for coffee. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, honey, are you going to pay with your big girl money? My husband literally always giggles because I'll be like, he's paying the bills. And I'm like, my treat, my love. I pull out a crisp $20 bill. I'm like, this is on me. And I feel like
I'm
such a
sure
big dog.
He loves it.
I'm like, look at
That's
me.
so funny.
But I think, and he's never, like, he always says to me, like, babe, I got you. Like, you focus on, like, paying for the kids' stuff and, like, whatever it is you and Chantal are doing. And that is my life.
Whatever you two lunatics are up to this week, like, do your thing. No, and this is just the thing. And, like, I understand that every family and every relationship is different, but it's just something to think about. Just have a look at your relationship today and just put it into the scales and just have a look. That's it. Okay, so obviously shit was whack at the Powell home. Josh and Susan fought primarily about finances. Josh had accumulated a large amount of debt over the years, and they actually had to file for bankruptcy in 2007.
And that's hard.
Oh, it's so hard, especially when like Susan was busting her ass. She was leaving her kids every day to go to work. And then to on top of that, even though you're busting your ass, you're away from your kids all the time, to have to file for bankruptcy would be such a discouragement.
You'd be defeated. You'd be like, what is all this for? Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
exactly. But the problems in the Powell family didn't exist in isolation, because there's another figure in this story that will actually make you feel sick to your stomach. And it is Josh's father, Steven Powell.
What the fuck's he doing?
Let's just talk about Steven real quick. Steven had a long history of troubling behavior within the family. When Josh was about 16, Josh's mom divorced Steven.
Okay.
Alleging that the home environment had become unstable and inappropriate. But the truth is, Steven had, for years, exposed his children to pornography and refused to maintain normal boundaries within the household. So this dad would sit his sons down to watch porn.
You know what? I'm going to say this. That is child abuse. That is sexual abuse.
Oh, 100%.
And that right there, to me, put him on the sex offenders list. You're a fucking sex offender. You fucking
You're a
pervert.
monster.
Yeah.
Well, it gets worse, because when Susan entered the family, Steven's behavior took an even darker turn. Over time, he developed an intense and deeply inappropriate fixation on his daughter-in-law. Steven secretly recorded Susan on video, and I have seen some of these videos. I will try to share one to our social media. It gave me, you know, the feeling when it feels like your butt's going to fall out?
Yep.
It gave me that feeling. It was so gross. Some of the videos that Steven took of Susan, she knows that he's filming her, and you can tell she's uncomfortable as fuck.
It's so gross. Like, it's your father-in-law.
And this is going to upset people, but I do really want to stress how disgusting Steven was before we get into the whole bones of this story. There are videos of him videotaping her leaving work. So he's hiding in his car. He's videoing her leaving work. There's one where she goes to get into the car, and she gets into the car and the door is still open, and she adjusts her skirt. And you can hear Steven go, she did that for me.
Stop it. Chantal, that's disgusting.
In interviews, and this was the one where I was like, well, I'm going to throw up, so I'm going to stop listening to this. There's an interview where he's talking about how Susan would flirt with him. The person doing the interview says, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "For example, when the boys were babies and she would hand the baby to me, she would like push her breast into my body to pass
Oh,
the baby over to me." Yeah.
oh my God. That right there, like
Yeah.
I could fucking scream. This actually reminds me, I was reading about a case a while ago, and this guy started stalking this girl
Mhm.
because she was breastfeeding her child.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he was
yeah.
like, she was doing it to show me her breast. No, motherfucker, she wasn't. You fucking fucked up motherfucker. Like, no, she's
I
not.
know.
We're not
It's
doing that.
so disturbing. So at one point, Steven tells Susan that he has feelings for her. And Susan immediately was like, "You are my father-in-law. I do not feel the same way."
Now, my
So
question is, like, did her husband ever tell her about like being exposed, like what Steven was like when he was growing up? Because right away I'd be like, you're not going near my kids.
I didn't see anywhere because later in the story, you'll see that despite the way that Josh was raised and despite what his father did, they actually have a pretty close relationship later in life, which is weird.
That's
Mhm.
fucking weird.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you know what? Fucked up people
Yeah.
will like
Gravitate towards each
will
other.
gravitate towards each other. So
Mhm.
I mean, misery
Mhm.
loves company, right? You're
Yeah.
just festering in your family cesspool of shit. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. So after Stephen confessed his undying love for his daughter-in-law, that was when Josh and Susan moved from Washington to Utah. So it sounds like part of it was like, let's get the fuck away from this guy. But unfortunately, it may have solved the Stephen issue, but it didn't fix the problem inside of their marriage. By 2008, Susan had begun quietly documenting aspects of her life that made her uneasy. She wrote extensively in her journals about the tension in her marriage and the stress she was experiencing at home. Around this time, and this video is so chilling, she creates a video that her lawyer had suggested she make, where she's walking around the house and she's describing certain items of property and damage that she believed had occurred during arguments with Josh. It doesn't sound like Josh ever put his hands on Susan, but he was like a destroyer. So
Mm.
they would get into an argument and he'd be chucking shit around the house,
Like a
basically throwing a
toddler.
temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In another step that would later take on chilling significance, Susan wrote a will. Inside the document, she included a line that investigators would later describe as deeply unsettling. And every time I read this, I get the chill right through my arms. She wrote in her own handwriting, "If I ever die, it might not be an accident, even if it appears to be."
Isn't this the saddest thing? It's
It's
heartbreaking.
unbelievable. Yeah. All right. As 2009 draws to a close, the Powell family appeared to be moving through life as usual. Susan was working, the boys were growing, and the holidays were approaching. On December 6th, something happened that would change everything. That Sunday began like many others. Susan attended church earlier in the day, bringing Charlie and Braden with her. Later that afternoon, a neighbor stopped by the Powell home briefly and spoke with Susan. The neighbor eventually left around 5 o'clock in the evening. Later, when they interviewed this neighbor, she said it was kind of weird because Stephen was making dinner, which was very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Very unusual. He was making pancakes and he had brought out Susan's pancakes. The neighbor said she ate her pancakes and very soon after basically told her friend, I don't feel very good. I think I need to go lay down. I don't know what's up. I'm just exhausted. I need to go to bed." And that was when the neighbor left. And the neighbor said at the time, she was like, "Okay, hun, like, yeah, for sure." And she said that Josh came out of the kitchen as soon as he heard that Susan was going to bed. And he was like, okay, well, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to take the boys sledding. So goodbye.
Like,
And she thought it was weird. Like, it was a very strange encounter. Like, he couldn't wait for her to get out. Unfortunately, that was the last confirmed sighting of Susan Powell.
I saw that coming.
Mm-hmm. The next day, Josh is missing, Braden is missing, Charlie is missing, and Susan is missing. Susan doesn't show up for work. No call, no show. The boys don't show up to daycare. Fucking Josh had nowhere to be. So missing is a weird statement because I'm like, where were you supposed to be? Nobody knows.
On your game.
But
Fuck.
yeah, but the emergency contact at the daycare was Susan's sister. And she says that when they called and said, Braden and Charlie haven't shown up, and she called the bank to be like, hey, can I speak to Susan? I just want to know where the boys are because I got a call. And they said she wasn't there. She knew something happened.
Absolutely.
Right away.
Could you imagine as a sister, like, you know that something's fucking wrong in this house. You know there's something about this guy. You know your sister's habits. And all of a sudden, your whole world would become so small and crushing because you'd be like, he finally fucking did it.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're panicking. Susan's mom calls the police for a welfare check. She's like, can you please go into my daughter's home? We don't know where the boys are. We don't know where she is. And we don't know where the dad is. Police gain entry into the home. I guess Susan's mom had a key. And so she was able to let the police in. And they walk into the house and it's quiet. But there are a few odd things. The couch is wet. And there are 2 box fans. So I want you to think like the big fans. Plugged in, running, pointing at the couch. Now, you and I immediately go to something
Right
fucking
away.
awful.
Yes.
But the police were like, something happened on the couch. They have young kids. They washed it. They're drying it. Not a big deal. More alarming was Susan's purse was in the bedroom. And she wouldn't have gone anywhere without her purse.
We're not going anywhere without our purse.
No, the family vehicle is gone. As police are looking through the home, Josh pulls into the driveway. And they're like, oh my God, thank God. Josh comes out. Both boys are there. He's like, hi. And they're like, oh my God, like, where were you? And I need everyone to brace themselves here. Josh says, well, I took the boys camping. Now, there was a snowstorm. Firstly, it's December 6th. They said, was this a planned camping trip? He's like, no, I decided to take them out around midnight last night. Do you know anybody who takes their 2- and 4-year-old camping on a whim in a snowstorm at midnight?
Who the fuck is going camping at all in a snowstorm? Even without kids, like, you're all cozy in your house and you're like, you know what would be great? Let's make ourselves extremely uncomfortable.
So the police are like, I'm sorry, Josh, I'm sorry. Hold up. Let me get this straight. You woke up at midnight and thought, what a great time for a camping trip. Woke your sons up, put them in the car and went camping? He's like, yeah, that's exactly what we did. So they're like, okay, we're going to have to talk to you a little bit more. Do you know where your wife is? She didn't show up to work. And he's like, no, like she should be at work. She was here when I left with the boys to go camping. They're like, okay, well, her purse is here. She's nowhere to be found. Like, we got to figure out where she's at. Let's talk about a couple weird things that Josh did in the interim. So police say, try to find her. In a couple hours, can you come by the station so we can take a statement? Because if she's missing, we're going to need that from you. He's like, yeah, absolutely no problem. In the time that they left, he drove to Susan's work. So police are at your house and they've told you your wife is missing. She didn't show up to work. Why the fuck are you going to her work? He called her cell phone and left a message that kind of went along the lines of this. Hey, Susan, hope everything's good and you made it to work okay. Sir, we have already told you Your
This
wife
guy's an
didn't make it to
idiot.
work. What are you doing? She's not there. She is not there.
So here's the thing. This just proves that gaming nonstop will rot your brain because you're clearly like, hello? Like, who do you think you are, you idiot?
Yeah. The police end up coming back to the house because they're like, we don't think Josh is going to come in. We don't think he's stopping by. So the police officers go back to the house. And at this point, Susan's been missing for hours. And again, he's just reiterating this spontaneous trip. She had been at home. When they came back the next day, they were there. She was gone. At first, investigators focused on gathering basic information. They're like, okay, where did you go camping? How long were you gone camping? He explained he had taken the boys to the desert area west of Salt Lake City. But again, you left after midnight in a snowstorm. But Josh stuck to his story. He was like, yes, that's exactly what I did. He said the boys had slept in the car and that the outing had simply been just a spur of the moment adventure. But this was not sitting well with police, and it does not sit well with me. And I don't think it would sit well with anybody with half a brain. The police began processing the Powell home a little bit more carefully. The fans blowing on the couch were puzzling. Like I said, it was wet. The couch was damp. And so they're like, something was cleaned up. And they did discover small amounts of blood on the floor, but the amounts were tiny, tiny, tiny. So nothing that indicated that a violent crime had occurred. And the thing is, when we're living in homes, you can have a nosebleed 4 months ago and,
Listen,
a little bit gets on the ground and then we have blood.
my son went through a nosebleed stage. You could have sworn a murder happened.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh.
I was like, oh
It's
my
intense.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the same time, when the police are trying to get a straight logical story out of Josh, Susan's behavior leading up to the disappearance began coming into focus because friends and coworkers said she was uneasy. She was talking to a divorce lawyer. Josh had at one point said to her when she brought up divorce, she was basically to the point where she said, hey, this isn't working. I'm not happy. I don't think you're happy. I think we need to start looking at other ways. And he said, you aren't leaving me. If you leave me, it'll be over my dead body. Guys, if someone says that to you, tell someone. This is not that's not you and I joke about stuff like that all the time, but if they're not joking, they're dead serious and you're having a serious conversation, get out.
Right?
Okay. Detectives speak with the Powell children. Keep in mind they are 2 and 4. Charlie made a statement when police were talking to him that would haunt this case for years. During one conversation with authorities, he said that his mother had gone camping with them. He said his mother had been there, but that she hadn't come back with them. Because Charlie was so young, investigators had to approach his statements very carefully because children often mix imagination and recent memories with other memories, and it becomes because he was 4. Charlie later told investigators that they brought Mummy so she could look for crystals.
Pardon the fuck out of me.
They also found on Josh's computer searches for local abandoned mines. In their head, they were like, what the fuck happened here? He brought her out there to an abandoned mine. He killed her. That's what happened. He told the kids, well, Mummy's looking for crystals. She's in the mine. We'll get her later.
The fucking trauma.
I know.
Oh, poor children.
Yeah. Absolutely awful that they had to go through that. So search teams spent days combing through remote areas. Volunteers joined law enforcement, hoping to locate any sign of Susan, and there was nothing. They could not find anything. She had simply vanished. As weeks passed, the case began attracting national attention because, of course, it did. News outlets across the country picked up the story of this missing Utah mom, have you seen her? What happened in that house on December 6th? Josh is so fucking weird in his interviews. Because he tried to stay away from the media as much as possible. But of course, we know reporters, they find a way in. And he was always so weird. He continued to insist, I went on a camping trip with the boys. I don't know where she is. We miss her very much and we hope that she comes home. He was so weird. So
That's so
weird.
weird. Yeah.
In the following weeks, he took Charlie and Braden from daycare. So he withdrew them completely. He canceled all of Susan's regular appointments, including visits to a chiropractor that she had been seeing. And at one point, he even began liquidating some of Susan's financial assets.
Pardon?
Now, I can see both sides to this. Ish. Your wife has only been missing for a couple of weeks and you're selling off her shit. Some people might say, okay, but she was the breadwinner and now she's gone. She's not bringing in anything. Okay, cool. Ask your parents for money. Maybe leave her shit alone because the hope is she's coming home.
Right there, that points to he knows she's not returning.
Of course he does.
And he's
because why else
idiot.
Are you doing that?
Right? Let's just make it more obvious, you fucking moron.
So during the investigation, back to fucking dirty dad, Steven, investigators are blown away because as they're investigating Steven, being like, hey, like, tell us about their relationship. All he could talk about was how much Susan flirted with him, how much she wanted him. He even played a song that he wrote for Susan for the investigators. And I'm like, are you stupid?
He played the song for them?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's correct.
Like so like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. These two are just...
Oh, it is literally so fucked up. Okay, so months turns to years and the mystery surrounding Susan only deepens. No body is ever found. No evidence of anything ever happening.
So no charges are laid?
No, because they don't have proof of anything. They have proof of nothing.
Ugh.
So as years are passing, Josh decides to relocate back to Washington State to be closer to his fucked up dad, which, what are you doing?
Right.
He actually moves into his dad's home with Charlie and Braden.
Oh, those poor fucking kids.
Yeah. But for the most part, it looked like they were having a normal life. They attended school. They played with friends. They tried to adjust to their new environment. But investigators were still like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but your fucking wife is missing. So we're going to have to keep looking into that. Back in Utah, detectives continued pursuing every single lead they could find. They searched the desert, examined financial records, interviewed anyone who might have had information about the Powell family. And they began developing a theory about what they believe had happened to Susan. But proving it was another matter entirely. Meanwhile, events inside the Powell house in Washington began drawing attention for an entirely different reason. Because this is just shit on shit. Authorities discovered disturbing material on Steven Powell's computers.
You don't say.
During the investigation, detectives uncovered thousands of images and videos that raised serious concerns about inappropriate content because Steven's been doing this his whole life at this point. Steven was arrested and charged with voyeurism and possession of illicit images. The charges were not directly related to Susan's disappearance, but they painted this like troubling scene of the environment around the Powell family. As Steven's legal problems unfolded, the state of Washington began reevaluating the safety of Charlie and Braden because, y'all, you can't have someone in your household that has voyeurism videos and images on their computer while there's children in the home. That's a no.
Also, as someone on the outside, and these investigators knew, they're like, fuck, we just need evidence. Like, it can't be circumstantial. It can't be, theory. We need some kind of evidence. Yeah. You would be sitting back there as an investigator being like, oh my God, these kids are in imminent danger of being, assaulted or something. It would just burn your ass every day.
Yeah. And the thing is, Josh was buddy-buddy with his dad, but some of his other siblings were not. So when investigators were talking to his siblings, they're saying, like, those boys shouldn't be there. Like, here's all the things he did to us when we were growing up. So Child Protective Services steps in and removes the boys from Josh's custody while the situation was investigated. For the first time since Susan disappeared, the children were placed with Susan's parents, Chuck and Judy.
Could you imagine
I
taking
know.
your grandbabies and just knowing that now they're safe? Like that whole time they were probably beside themselves.
And they didn't get to see them at all.
Oh, of course
Like
not.
Josh
Because he's a
kept them.
psychopath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Josh kept them from the family. And so this was like this bittersweet moment because they were so grateful to have their grandsons with them. But the circumstances that led to that moment was just heartbreaking. Like their mother is gone. And who the fuck knows what they saw in Steven's fucking house. Despite the removal of the children, Josh was eventually granted supervised visitation with Charlie and Braden. These visits were meant to take place under controlled conditions with a social worker present to ensure the children's safety, which, like, hats off to Children's
Yep.
Services. Good job, guys. That's the way it should be.
100%.
On February 5th, 2012, one of those visits was scheduled to occur. A social worker named Elizabeth Griffin Hall arrived at Josh Powell's home in Graham, Washington, with the two boys. So Elizabeth has the boys in the back seat. The idea, it was supposed to follow standard protocol. They had done it quite a few times. This was their social worker. She goes to the door with the boys. They all go in. They have their visitation with Josh. She takes the boys back to Chuck and Judy's. Elizabeth says almost immediately after arriving, something felt wrong. Like she didn't want to get out of the car. But this is her job. She's done this a few times. The boys hop out of the back seat of the car. They're all excited to go see Dad. They run up the steps. The door opens. Josh grabs the boys and shuts the door on the social worker. It's locked. Elizabeth is banging on the door. She's trying to open the door. It will not budge. She's like, Josh, let me in. Josh, you can't have the kids by yourself. Like she's doing her job, okay? Moments later, she noticed something alarming. She could smell gasoline.
Oh, no.
Realizing something was terribly wrong, and my heart, I have heard the 911 call from Elizabeth. My heart breaks for this woman because I cannot imagine being in a situation where you're so concerned about the kids, but also for yourself, and you don't know what to do.
Like social workers are such a beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, it is their job. They shouldn't have to go to work in fear of their life.
Yeah.
And that's fucking
And she
crazy.
was just terrified. She was like, why do I smell gas? This is what's going on. So she goes to her car and she calls 911. And this is one of those 911 calls that is so fucking frustrating. Like I was screaming at my speakers. Elizabeth is worked up because she is very worried about the boys.
Absolutely.
So the dispatcher comes on and she's like, hi, my name is Elizabeth. This is the address I'm at. And they're like, okay, what's going on, Elizabeth? And she's like, I am a social worker. She explains the situation. She's like, I brought the boys. The dad took them inside and I can smell gas. And the dispatcher basically is like, all right, well, we'll send a U-note over when they can get there.
I could fucking rage right now.
And Elizabeth is panicking. She's like, no, listen, he's not supposed to be in there with them by himself. He grabbed them and now I can smell gas. Something is wrong. He locked me out of the house. You need to send someone right away. They're like, unfortunately, they're dealing with other stuff right now. This is a family issue. They will get there when they can get there. It's horrific.
I'm upset.
She ends up hanging up, which of course she did. I think Elizabeth is a fucking incredible person. And it's just heartbreaking. My heart literally breaks for her. She ends up hanging up because she's like, okay, what else am I going to do? She calls back moments later and she's screaming because Josh lit the house on fire.
You know what? These fucking now, 90% of them, incredible. Your job is probably one of the hardest jobs out there. You have to make hard calls and keep people calm, and you hear things and the trauma. And I'm not saying that the 90%, I'm not including them. But that fucking 10% of those calls that we fucking hear, this is not a family member, you idiot. Like, if someone, a social worker especially, because they're trained to be calm, is freaking out on the phone.
Freaking out. Yeah.
There's a problem. Ugh, yep. I'm upset.
By the time emergency responders arrived, the house was fully ablaze. All three, Josh, Charlie, and Braden, were killed in the fire. Investigators who later reconstructed the scene found that before he lit the house on fire, Josh attacked his sons with a hatchet.
Josh, there is a special place in hell for people like you, you fucking monster.
Yep.
Like, not only did he allow his dad to fucking basically, I don't know, fucking perpetrate on his wife, you allowed a man who you knew was a fucking sexual sadist or some fucked up individual around your kids. But then you were so selfish and such a fucktard that you took their life. Like, they were fine. They were with grandma and grandpa. They would have had a perfect life. But no. I wish we could bring him back to stone him in the streets, old school style.
I know.
The guillotine.
It's absolutely awful. So obviously this tragedy shocked the nation. In the aftermath, investigators continued examining every piece of evidence connected to Susan's disappearance, because obviously that's where this started. And although Josh was now dead, authorities in Utah publicly stated they believed he had been responsible for Susan's disappearance all along.
Yeah.
They also suspected that Josh had not acted entirely alone. Let me tell you why. Attention turned to Josh's brother, Michael. Detectives believe Michael may have helped Josh dispose of Susan's body in the days following her disappearance. At one point, they discovered Michael had rented a car shortly after Susan vanished, had driven it long distances before eventually abandoning it at a wrecking yard in Oregon.
What?
So the heat starts coming down on Michael because you're the only one left.
Okay, and where is fucking creepy fucking Steven in all of this?
He's just being creepy Steven. Doesn't know anything about it.
Fuck.
So the heat starts coming down on Michael. He commits suicide, jumps from the roof of a parking garage in 2013.
I hope he felt it. This family. Ugh.
Yeah, so with his death, like, any answers are gone. Today, Susan's body has never been found. Really, they don't know what happened. They don't know how it went down. They have no physical evidence. For Susan's parents, the loss has been immeasurable because I can't even, I don't even know what to say.
We're not meant to outlive our kids and grandkids. That's not the circle of life. It's not supposed to be. These poor people.
I know. My heart just, when I think about Chuck and Judy, to not only lose your daughter, but then they just got their grandsons back. They were just rebuilding with them.
What I think breaks my heart about this the most is the image of these two little sweet, innocent children excited to go see their dad.
They just wanted to see their dad. He beat them with a hatchet and then lit them on fire. So
I don't feel well.
I know. I told you. I told you so. That's where that rests. There was never any trial, never any responsibility. And Susan is still missing. And it's awful. I can't imagine. And my heart goes out to the Cox family. I am so incredibly sorry. I don't even know. What do you even say? What do you
There's
even
no words.
say?
You can't even say like even I'm sorry, you know, like there's like not a language measurable for something like this.
I know. So I have thought about them over the years since I first learned about this story. I think about them often. And although I can't imagine it, and I say this all the time, that I hope that they found some semblance of peace. I do. I hope that there's some joy in their life. But that is the awful, terrible story of Susan Cox and Braden and Charlie.
Thank you for bringing that story. This was
You're
definitely
welcome. It's awful.
Like I think, you know, we bring some of the most horrific stories, but in situations like this, you just like I'm angry. I'm angry at this system.
And it's anger that has nowhere to go.
There's nowhere, because I'm like, okay, who I want to blame somebody, but the only, you know, people to blame is that fucked up fucking Powell family. But like, they're gone, and Steven's out there fucking probably
doing whatever
hiding
he's
in
doing.
a fucking bush somewhere, just acting a fucking creep. And you know what? Like, I hope that 9, like, and I know, like, I've never been in a situation where I was a first responder, so please don't come for me, but I hope that person was fired, because you had one fucking job.
I know, it's awful. It's awful. Ugh. I don't know what happened there.
I'm mad.
But thank you for listening. We love you guys so much. And we have some big cases coming up.
Big cases.
Big cases. Big things. Big things. All right. We love you all. Thank you for listening. And we will see you all on Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Triggered, where we dive deep into the dark, the twisted, and the cosmic mysteries of the universe.
Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, always watch the stars and your back.